Ever wondered what happens when your life gets completely turned upside down? Let's talk about a man named Job, a story that asks some of life's toughest questions. The Bible describes him as blameless and upright, a guy who had it all: a loving family, huge flocks of livestock, and a solid reputation. He was living the dream. But then, a conversation happens in the heavenly realms. An accuser, often interpreted as Satan, challenges God. He suggests Job is only faithful because God has blessed him so much. Take away all he has, the accuser says, and he'll surely curse you to your face. So, God allows Job's faith to be tested. In a single, horrific day, Job loses everything. His livestock are stolen or destroyed. His servants are killed. And in the most devastating blow of all, a freak storm causes the house where his children were feasting to collapse, and they all perish. Can you even imagine that level of grief? Most people would crumble. But Job's reaction is astonishing. He mourns deeply, tearing his robe and shaving his head, but he doesn't curse God. Instead, he says, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." But the test isn't over. The accuser strikes again, this time afflicting Job with painful sores from head to toe. He's left sitting in ashes, scraping his skin with a piece of pottery. His own wife tells him to just give up, curse God, and die. But Job holds on, refusing to sin with his words. Then, three of Job's friends come to comfort him. At first, they just sit with him in silence for 7 days, which is probably the most helpful thing they do. But then, they start talking. For chapter after chapter, they insist Job must have done something wrong to deserve such suffering. They operate on a simple formula: God is just, so if you're suffering, you must have sinned. Job maintains his innocence. He doesn't claim to be perfect, but he knows he hasn't done anything to warrant this level of disaster. He argues with his friends and cries out to God, demanding an explanation. He feels abandoned and confused, wrestling with the silence of heaven. Finally, after all the debates, God himself speaks to Job out of a whirlwind. But God doesn't give Job the direct answers he was looking for. He doesn't explain the why. Instead, God reveals his own immense power and wisdom through a series of questions about the wonders of creation. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? In the face of God's majesty, Job is humbled. He realizes he was speaking of things too wonderful for him to understand. He repents, not for a sin that caused his suffering, but for his limited perspective and his demand for answers from the creator of the universe. In the end, God restores Job's fortunes, giving him twice as much as he had before. He gets a new family, and he lives a long, full life.